Welcome back, my most amazing artists. Today we are on a scavenger hunt. We are looking for textures. Now remember, texture is the way a surface feels or looks like it feels. There are two types of texture in art, and we'll talk a little bit more about them. The first one is implied texture. That means it looks like it has a texture, but if I touch it, it doesn't actually feel bumpy or smooth or hard. But if I am trying to draw an implied texture, I can make something look like maybe it does feel a certain way. The other type of texture that we are looking for today is real texture. In order to draw some implied textures today, we're actually going to be looking for real textures around us. You can look both inside and outside your home. The only thing that you're going to need is a piece of paper. It doesn't matter what it looks like, and a crayon. And I want you to notice about this crayon, I did pull the paper off. I actually just had this one, it was already broken. So I would recommend that you use one of these on its side, but if that doesn't work for you, then you're absolutely fine to just color from the front with a regular crayon. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so now that we're here, I am actually going to look for some textures that are maybe really hard. Hard textures I find really show up a lot easier than soft textures. So we're going to just lay our paper on top of whatever texture we found, and we are going to start somewhere by rubbing on the side of our crayon. And I am just pushing down pretty firmly and rubbing over that whole area. What is important here is that my paper is not moving around too much. So let's see what it looks like if I just draw with the tip of my crayon really quick, just so you can get the idea of how different these look. Maybe you kind of find that you like that a little bit better. So there's texture number one. Okay, boys and girls, another really great thing that you can use are trees or logs. So let's see, I'm going to look for a place that I think looks interesting. This looks a little flat to me. This has got some interesting things going on. So I'm going to lay my paper over the surface, and I'm, again, holding it really still. And let's see how different texture number two is from texture number one. Rubbing, rubbing, rubbing. Careful not to go too fast. You could tear a hole in your paper if you have a really rough surface. Okay, so that's what texture number two looks like. Boys and girls, over here, I happen to have a very small palm tree in the front of my yard. I'm going to do the same thing to this bark and compare how it's different. Some of these might be a little bit of a challenge. What do we get? That looks pretty good. On to texture number four. Let's try this stump. Keeping it flat. Rub, rub, rub. Here, I'm really starting to see the rings. Ooh, that's cool. It never looks like what you think it's going to look like. All right, great. Why not this vent? You'll notice when you rub one direction versus the other direction, sometimes the textures can completely change. Like if I go this way, I'm going to really pick up the edge a little bit more. There we go. Alright, I think I'm happy with that. Let's try one more. Here I'm on the side of my house, even though this is supposed to look like real wood. Let's see what we get. It's kind of cool. It looks like an eye. Next. Okay, boys and girls, now I'm outside my chicken coop. I found this really nice fence texture. Let's see what we get. That one's fun. think I'm also going to get a little bit of this flower pot. Awesome. I also found this shoe inside, so we're going to try that one too. That one's really cool. Shoes are highly underrated for texture. Okay, students, now we are on a very, very last square. So I'm going to do, I think, this placemat. So now I have a work of art that is really got a lot of variety, and the reason that it does is because there are lots of different textures all around us. We can use those real textures to create implied textures. This surface looks like it is bumpy, but in fact if I touch it, it's not. So that's the difference between real and implied. I hope that you take this paper and make something out of it. You could cut it up and you could collage it. You could paint on top of it and use it as a watercolor, wax resist. There are a lot of things that you could do. You could even plan out what kind of textures that you like and use them to incorporate them into your drawing. Maybe I start by drawing some boxes to make a robot and then come back and gather some textures to put inside. You decide what you want to do with this project. I'm looking forward to seeing what you make. So, until then,